Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about procrastination, which has become an epidemic in a society full of tempting distractions. Procrastination is a serious problem. It prevents us from realizing our true potential and limits our capacity for intellectual growth. The first thing you can do to prevent procrastination is to set up goals that you actually value. In order to do this, you must establish a situational analysis of your ideal life. Ask yourself if you could have your life the way you wanted it. What would you want from your friendships? What would you want from your intimate relationships? How would you like to structure your family? What do you want for your career? How are you going to regulate your mental and physical health? And maybe also your drug and alcohol use. So, you develop a vision of what you would like your life to be. And then you break down the goal into micro processes or habits that you can implement. The habits become rewarding in relation to their causal association with the goal. But the question always is, why do anything? Because doing nothing is easy. You just sit there and you don't do anything. The question is, why would you ever do anything? And the answer to that has to be, because you've determined by some means that it's worthwhile. And then the next question might be, well, where should you look for worthwhile things? So you kind of look at what it is that people accrue that's valuable across a lifespan. So you do a structural analysis of the subcomponents of human existence. And I already spelled that out for you. You need a family, friends, career, educational goals, plans for time outside of work, attention to your health, etc. It's like you don't need to have all of these things, but you better have most of them. That's what life is about. Because if you don't have any of those things, well, then all you've got left is misery and suffering and existential crisis. So that's a bad deal for you. And often people won't specify their goals too, because they don't like to specify conditions for failure. So if you keep yourself all vague and foggy, then you don't know when you fail. And people might say, well, I really don't want to know when I fail because that's painful. So I'll keep myself blind about when I fail. That's fine, except you'll just fail all the time then. You just won't know it until you failed so badly that you're done. That's willful blindness where you could have known, but you chose not to. So you should think to yourself, if I could have this ideal life, it might be actually worth living. Despite the fact that it's going to be, anxiety provoking and threatening, and there's going to be some suffering and loss involved in all of that, the goal is to have a vision for your life such that, all things considered, the end justifies your effort. So the next step is to establish micro routines that instantiate themselves day to day, week to week, month to month. And that's where something like a schedule can be unbelievably useful. So make a schedule and stick to it. Okay, so what's the rule with a schedule? It's not a prison. That's the first thing that people do wrong. They tyrannize and overwork themselves, which inevitably leads to burnout, because nobody wants to be in a prison. You have to pretend that you are setting up a schedule for someone that you care about, despite the fact that you may not actually care about yourself. Set the schedule up so that you have the day you want, according to your personal needs and desires, while still practically working towards your long-term goals. Okay, so to summarize, these are the rules for preventing procrastination and maintaining self-control. Number 1, set up goals that you truly value. Number 2, establish a vision of who you want to be. And lastly, make a schedule which will lead you to your goals and ultimately your ideal self. Thanks for listening.